Hello, I'm pleased that now I can introduce you to one of the improvements we have created for Viswalk 2026. This one is about the grid-based evaluations. Grid-based evaluations are nothing new in Viswalk. They exist for quite some time, but we have improved the possibilities which you have with these, the number of measurements you can do in one simulation run. Let's first look at this simple model here, where 1,000 pedestrians are walking through this maze or over this kind of a galvanic board, if you want. And on their way to their destination, each pedestrian sometimes experiences a higher, sometimes experiences a lower density, which we can visualize with colors, which demonstrate the experience density for each pedestrian. So we have quite a variation of high and low densities. You see already that although I'm currently recording a grid evaluation, it is running quite fast. And when I go to quick mode, it's even faster, kind of 20 times real speed with 1,000 pedestrians. And that's one of the improvements with the grid-based evaluations. They now run faster, significantly faster, although we are recording more of them. The simulation has already ended. Now let me guide your mind to what we have created and why we have created and improved Viswalk 2026. The first mental step towards this is to look at an evaluation which we have had for a long time, and we haven't changed something on this. But have a look here. That's simply the average density during the course of the simulation, which you see here. And different to the experience density of individual pedestrians for limited times, which could be quite high. The density picture looks quite moderate. And that is because high densities get averaged out over time, because what you see here is the average density over kind of 400 seconds. That's the evaluation time interval. So the average density picture is good to get a first impression of what's going on, but you may miss out on short times of high density. And to fill that gap, we have previously introduced the threshold evaluation. What's the threshold evaluation? That is that in first instance, the density is recorded. And then the density is compared with the threshold value. For this picture, it's the 0.5 pedestrians per square meter, so a very moderate density. And then it is the number of time steps is counted, or the time is measured. How long is the threshold value exceeded for a certain spot, for a certain grid cell? And the grid cells are 25 by 25 centimeters here, so it's very fine scale. And you see in this picture that there are areas where the 0.5 pedestrians per square meter value is exceeded for less than 50 seconds, but there are also areas where it's exceeded for something between 300 and 350 seconds, so almost the entire time interval of 400 seconds. Now, those 0.5 persons per square meter, that's only one, the lowest of those 5 breakpoints of this level of service schemes, which we see in the second network editor window. And naturally, you would want to have an evaluation for all 5 of these values. And since many of the level of service schemes which exist have 6 levels of service with 5 breakpoints, naturally, we have decided that we want to add the functionality that in one simulation run, you can not only evaluate one single density grid, but 5 of them. Yeah? And with this dialog here, you can add or delete grids which are to be evaluated and define the threshold values. And often you might have the threshold values parallel to the level breakpoints of the level of service scheme, which is relevant for you. So let's look at the second highest of those 4 thresholds, so the 2.0 pedestrians per square meter. And there, with the same times, the picture looks different. Naturally, the higher value is exceeded for shorter times only, but still it gets exceeded. And it's not the case that here, where the 0.5 pedestrians per square meter are exceeded for the longest time, that there is also the longest exceeding period for the 2.0 pedestrians per square meter. No, that's there, where the lower value is exceeded for not such a long time. So it's not just a simple scale, but it's really a different picture. And yeah, finally then, if you say, 50, 100, 150 seconds, that's all very nice, and it looks nice, that picture, but my guideline says the relevant value, that's, let's say, the 50 seconds, and I only want to see a picture with 2 values, 2 colors. Yes, of course, you can delete these, and that will then offer a way, or it will offer a possibility, and it will generate the idea that when anyway you only have, let's say, one color, the background color white, yeah, the threshold value was not exceeded at all, or less than the 50 seconds, and then it was exceeded for more than the 50 seconds. Of course, it would be interesting to see all of these color fields posted one on top of the other, and that is shown here. You see that this shape here, it's the magenta shape here. No, it's the red shape here, sorry. And that shape here is the green shape here. And then where it's green here, of course, or where the other colors, yellow and orange, it's green in the background. This is one which you combine yourself, or you produce yourself, with a user-defined attribute of the type pedestrian grid cell. You can give it any name. And with this formula, we simply add a 1 if the threshold 1 grid is exceeded by 50 seconds, and you add a 10 if the threshold 2 grid is exceeded, and so on, which gives a number where you can easily see which values have been exceeded. And this number can be used with a simple graphics parameter setting, which just uses intermediate values to choose the colors. That's it. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.